All right, Isaiah, thank you for that. We'll talk to you coming up in just a little bit. Right now, we've got Noi Mahoney joining us to talk about another update to the U.S. top trade partner. Another month, and Mexico is still on top again, as is the Port of Laredo. Noi, tell us a little bit about how they are continuing to maintain this reign of supremacy.
Good morning. Yes, Mexico, as you mentioned, is the top trade partner for the U.S. during the month of August. It's the 7th time in the last 8 months that Mexico is number one. The only time this year that they weren't number one was May, when Canada edged them out. But ever since then, Mexico has been pretty dominant, and about 500,000 trucks have passed across the U.S.-Mexico border just in August alone. So trucks are moving between our two countries. And as you mentioned, Port Laredo, or Laredo, Texas, is the number one international gateway for trade in the U.S. Laredo edged out the Port of Los Angeles and Chicago O'Hare International Airport. During the month of August, Laredo totaled about $28 billion in trade. So things are really moving along the U.S.-Mexico border, despite some of the things that have been going on in the past few weeks.
And Noi, can you jump into what are going to be some of the biggest headline items that are going back and forth between the borders?
Yeah, right now it's all about passenger vehicles and automotive stuff. So number one, import and export, was auto parts. Number two was passenger vehicles, and number three was commercial trucks. And if you want to go further, diesel engines was also one of the top commodities, and fuel, gasoline and other fuels was also in the top 5. So right now everything is about the transportation industry between our two countries. That's really fueling trade.
So, Noi, obviously this data comes to us a little bit delayed. This is for August that these numbers are top. And in the month of September, we've seen some pretty big things happen between the U.S.-Mexico relationships that have caused some potential breakdowns in some of these numbers. You mentioned that auto parts and the automobiles. But of course, we have the big 3 strike that's going on with the UAW workers that started in September. You also mentioned the fact that trade is moving pretty freely in August. Now, from the end of September into the start of October, we've seen, of course, those just extensive backups at the border. Do you think that this will cause, or could potentially cause, a stark contrast in September versus August numbers when we eventually get those September numbers?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the numbers. It'll definitely have an impact. I'm not sure how large the impact will be. It could be stark, as you mentioned, or it could be sort of in the middle, but it's definitely going to have an impact because of the migrant situation that slowed down cross-border trade, and that was compounded by the safety inspections that were implemented by the Texas Department of Public Safety in Laredo and El Paso and other ports of entry along the Texas-Mexico border. And those had a major effect also on slowing down trucks crossing between the U.S. and Mexico. So it'll be interesting to see what effect those had during the month of September for trade.
And Noi, can you give us the update around Eden Green, the company right outside of Dallas, and what's going on there?
Yeah, it's really interesting stuff that this company, Eden Green, is doing. They are a farming technology company, and last week they announced a $40 million expansion to build 2 more vertical greenhouses at their campus in North Texas. Eden Green grows about 2 million heads of lettuce at their vertical farmhouses. They have 2 currently at their campus, and it's right outside of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. This expansion that they're building now will add 2 more greenhouses, so they'll have 4 total. The newer greenhouses are expected to open in 2025, and they'll also be growing lettuce and other fresh produce for retailers around Texas. And Eden Green's ultimate plan is to have as many as 20 greenhouses around the U.S. Growing fresh lettuce and other produce for retailers.
I love it. Alternative ways to get great greens to your table, Anthony. You should look at putting a vertical farm in your apartment.
I usually just go to Chipotle for that.
There you go. All right, good enough. All right, Noi, let's finish up talking about what's going on in the Borderlands article, because again, in contrast to those numbers for U.S.-Mexico trade, we've got a decrease of exports of Mexican-built trucks. They've fallen for the 2nd straight month. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, ANPAC is the Mexico's National Association of Bus, Truck, producers. And as you mentioned, their data is for the month of September. And for the second straight month, production and exports of members of their association declined. And I think during the month of September, they produced about 17,000 trucks and exported about 14,000. And it's about 9% decreases in exports and production. And it's interesting, they said, this isn't sort of indicative of slowing demand. It was just at this same time last year in 2022, they were saying, September, August of 2022, the demand was high or exports and production was high because they were trying to catch up with back orders. And so the numbers that we're seeing now, according to ANPAC, the association, they're saying this is just more normalized. The 17,000 production figures and exports of 14,000 are sort of more in line with normal demand and production.
And Noi, lastly, you have a small piece here on Brownsville, Port of Brownsville, getting some funding for some port refinements. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, the Port of Brownsville, which is in far deep South Texas, right along the U.S.-Mexico border, along the Gulf of Mexico, announced a $11 million grant that they received to tear down one of their docks and completely rebuild it. I think they call it cargo dock number 3. And this is a general cargo dock. The port says, rebuilding this dock will help them move freight more quickly in and out of their facilities, which is another sign of, growing trade between the U.S. and Mexico.
And we love to see that as well. Noi, thank you for joining us this morning to talk through your Borderlands article, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Thank you.
Right now, we're going to take a quick break, but we'll be right back with more Freightlers Now.